Nigerians and friends of Nigerians. I have chosen to address you at this time. Who am I? I am a Nigerian. My name is Leonard Kashima Shilgba. I am an assistant professor of mathematics with American University of Nigeria and also president of the Nigeria Rally Movement, an intellectual movement founded to promote good governance in Nigeria based on the provisions of Nigeria's constitution. There has been a significant gap between the ideal represented by Nigeria's constitution and the reality as we see today. And if any nation must develop and make strategic progress, that nation must comply with its provisions, the provisions of its own constitution, no matter how imperfect those may be. If they are very much imperfect and the people so require, there can be amendments. But then, the Nigerian constitution, as we have, has some good things therein, especially the second chapter entitled Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy. More than 100 years ago, the British sought for a name for the people that now occupy the geographical area called Nigeria. There were many suggestions. Some suggested that the people be called the people of Southern Sudan. In 1897, in a newspaper article, a British lady by name Flora Forbes suggested that the people be called the people of the Niger area, after River Niger. Later, that name, Niger area, was contracted to form the name Nigeria, by which we are called. The creation of Nigeria was by the British Empire, and for that empire, Nigeria wasn't the creation for the benefit of any African, any black man, although it is today the largest black invention on earth. They wanted a man, and they wanted a method to bring this about. I would like to tell you something that indicates how African rulers view their subjects. You may recall the abolition of the heinous slave trade in 1807. African chiefs sold their subjects into slavery to the white man. Even though that trade, the slave trade, was abolished in 1807, some African chiefs still insisted on selling their subjects for mundane things such as mules. For instance, it took the removal of the King of Lagos, Obako Soko, in 1851 to stop the sale of his subjects into slavery. You may be living abroad as a Nigerian because of circumstances, because of the misrule back home in Nigeria. Many Nigerians are economic refugees in foreign countries. Our kings, our chiefs, have driven many of us out of the country. But what can we do in order to change the situation of things back home? Well, there is a lesson that we can learn from Britain, the creator of Nigeria. They looked for a man, not for men. Eventually, the colonial secretary at that time, Sir Lewis Harcourt, after whom the oil city of Port Harcourt is named, announced that he had found a man. That man was a young man, Frederick Lugard, who eventually became the first Governor General of Nigeria. The young man had lived and worked in India. After that, he moved to East Africa before he located himself in Nigeria to work for the Royal Niger Company, which is now called United African Company, UAC. That was the man that they had found. The method was amalgamation. In order to dissuade African chiefs from selling their people, another avenue of trade was made by the British. You know, the ports of Calabar, Bonny and Lagos were important slave ports at that time. In fact, 30% of slaves shipped to America from West Africa were shipped through the Calabar port. The Royal Niger Company was chartered to promote trade along the River Niger and its tributaries, in order to create an alternative avenue of trade for the African chiefs. Frederick Lugard eventually got married to the lady who had proposed the name Nigeria. A man, one man, living abroad was found useful by his country. How about you?